Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Have or contain a certain wording or form. The passage reads as follows. Make sense of a language. Can you read Greek? Obtain data from magnetic tapes or other digital sources. This dictionary can be read by the computer. Indicate a certain reading of gauges and instruments. The gauge read, empty. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. I read this address as a satire. Be a student of a certain subject. She is reading for the bar exam. Audition for a stage role by reading parts of a role. Interpret something that is written or printed. Read the advertisement. Interpret the significance of, as of palms, tea leaves, intestines, the sky, also of human behavior. She read the sky and predicted rain. Look at, interpret, and say out loud something that is written or printed. The king will read the proclamation at noon. Something that is read. The article was a very good read. To hear and understand. I read you loud and clear. Have or contain a certain wording or form. What does the law say? Give instructions to or direct somebody to do something with authority. Express a supposition. Let us say that he did not tell the truth. Speak, pronounce, or utter in a certain way. I cannot say, zip wire. Report or maintain. The registrar says that I owe the school money. Express in words. Communicate or express nonverbally. What does this painting say? Indicate. The clock says noon. Recite or repeat a fixed text. State as one's opinion or judgment. Declare. I say let's forget this whole business. The chance to speak. Let him have his say. Utter aloud. Make sense of. Assign a meaning to. How do you interpret his behavior? Make sense of a language. Give an interpretation or rendition of. Restate. Words, from one language into another language. Can you interpret the speech of the visiting dignitaries? Create an image or likeness of. Give an interpretation or explanation to. Make sense of a language. Restate. Words, from one language into another language. I have to translate when my in-laws from Austria visit the U.S. Change from one form or medium into another. Brock translated collage into oil. Be equivalent in effect. The growth in income translates into greater purchasing power. Be translatable, or be translatable in a certain way. Poetry often does not translate. Bring to a certain spiritual state. Change the position of figures or bodies in space without rotation. Determine the amino acid sequence of a protein during its synthesis by using information on the messenger RNA. Express, as in simple and less technical language. Can you translate the instructions in this manual for a layman? subject to movement in which every part of the body moves parallel to and the same distance as every other point on the body. Believed to be the case. I understand you have no previous experience? Make sense of a language. She understands French. Perceive, an idea or situation, mentally. I don't understand the idea. Be understanding of. You don't need to explain, I understand. Know and comprehend the nature or meaning of. She did not understand her husband. Examine hastily. She scanned the newspaper headlines while waiting for the taxi. Obtain data from magnetic tapes or other digital sources. An image produced by scanning. He analyzed the brain scan. Conform to a metrical pattern. Examine minutely or intensely. The surgeon scanned the X-ray. Make a wide, sweeping search of. The beams scanned the night sky. Move a light beam over, in electronics, to reproduce an image. Read metrically. Scan versus. The act of scanning, systematic examination of a prescribed region. He made a thorough scan of the beach with his binoculars. Register electronically. They recorded her singing. Sound recording consisting of a disc with a continuous groove, used to reproduce music by rotating while a phonograph needle tracks in the groove. Indicate a certain reading, of gauges and instruments. A compilation of the known facts regarding something or someone. Al Smith used to say, "Let's look at the record." Be aware of. The sum of recognized accomplishments. The lawyer has a good record. A list of crimes for which an accused person has been previously convicted. He ruled that the criminal record of the defendant could not be disclosed to the court. Make a record of, set down in permanent form. A document that can serve as legal evidence of a transaction. They could find no record of the purchase. An extreme attainment, the best, or worst, performance ever attested, as in a sport. He tied the Olympic record. Anything, such as a document or a phonograph record or a photograph, providing permanent evidence of or information about past events. The film provided a valuable record of stage techniques. The number of wins versus losses and ties a team has had. At 9-0 they have the best record in their league. An official written record of names or events or transactions. A cash box with an adding machine to register transactions, used in shops to add up the bill. Indicate a certain reading, of gauges and instruments. Record in a public office or in a court of law. Be aware of. Did you register any change when I pressed the button? Have one's name listed as a candidate for several parties. A book in which names and transactions are listed. An air passage, usually in the floor or a wall of a room, for admitting or excluding heated air from the room. A regulator, as a sliding plate, for regulating the flow of air into a furnace or other heating device. Computer science. Memory device that is the part of computer memory that has a specific address and that is used to hold information of a specific kind. Enroll to vote. Register for an election. Enter into someone's consciousness. Did this event register in your parents' minds? Manipulate the registers of an organ. Music. The timbre that is characteristic of a certain range and manner of production of the human voice or of different pipe organ stops or of different musical instruments. Record in writing. Enter into a book of names or events or transactions. Send by registered mail. I'd like to register this letter. Show in one's face. Her surprise did not register. Provide evidence for. The blood test showed that he was the father. Pretending that something is the case in order to make a good impression. That ceremony is just for show. Take someone to their seats, as in theaters or auditoriums. The usher showed us to our seats. Indicate a certain reading of gauges and instruments. The thermometer showed 13 degrees below zero. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. I showed the customer the glove section. Show in, or as in, a picture. Be or become visible or noticeable. His good upbringing really shows. Something intended to communicate a particular impression. A show of impatience. Give an exhibition of to an interested audience. She shows her dogs frequently. Give expression to. She showed her disappointment. Establish the validity of something, as by an example, explanation or experiment. The mathematician showed the validity of the conjecture. A social event involving a public performance or entertainment. They wanted to see some of the shows on Broadway. Finish third or better in a horse or dog race. He bet $2 on number 6 to show. Give evidence of, as of records. The diary shows his distress that evening. Make visible or noticeable. She showed her talent for cooking. The act of publicly exhibiting or entertaining. A remarkable show of skill. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the dye. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with. Archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself. Have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Commit to memory. Learn by heart. Impart skills or knowledge to. Get to know or become aware of, usually accidentally. I learned that she has 2 grown-up children. Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. Gain knowledge or skills. She learned dancing from her sister. Be a student of a certain subject. A branch of knowledge. Anthropology is the study of human beings. Give careful consideration to. Applying the mind to learning and understanding a subject, especially by reading. No schools offer graduate study in interior design. Attentive consideration and meditation. Preliminary drawing for later elaboration. Think intently and at length, as for spiritual purposes. He is meditating in his study. Learn by reading books. He is studying geology in his room. A detailed critical inspection. A written document describing the findings of some individual or group. This accords with the recent study by Hill and Dale. Be a student of a certain subject. Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. A composition intended to develop one aspect of the performer's technique. A study in spiccato bowing. A room used for reading and writing and studying. He knocked lightly on the closed door of the study. A state of deep mental absorption. She is in a deep study. Be a student. Follow a course of study. Be enrolled at an institute of learning. Someone who memorizes quickly and easily, as the lines for a part in a play. He is a quick study. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. Undergo, as of injuries and illnesses. Have or possess, either in a concrete or an abstract sense. Have sex with, archaic use. Have ownership or possession of. How many cars does she have? Achieve a point or goal. Go through, mental or physical states or experiences. Have a feeling. Get something. Come into possession of. A person who possesses great material wealth. Organize or be responsible for. Have, throw, or make a party. Undergo. Have as a feature. Cause to be born. Cause to move. Cause to be in a certain position or condition. Cause to do. Cause to act in a specified manner. Receive willingly something given or offered. The only girl who would have him was the miller's daughter. Have a personal or business relationship with someone. Have a postdoc. Have left. I have 2 years left. Suffer from. Be ill with. A prominent attribute or aspect of something. The map showed roads and other features. The principal, full-length film in a program at a movie theater. The feature tonight is Casablanca. Linguistics. A distinctive characteristic of a linguistic unit that serves to distinguish it from other units of the same kind. Have as a feature. This restaurant features the most famous chefs in France. A special or prominent article in a newspaper or magazine. They ran a feature on retirement planning. Wear or display in an ostentatious or proud manner. The characteristic parts of a person's face, eyes and nose and mouth and chin. An expression of pleasure crossed his features. An article of merchandise that is displayed or advertised more than other articles. Make sense of. Assign a meaning to. Take charge of or deal with. Could you see about lunch? Make sense of. Assign a meaning to. What message do you see in this letter? Go to see a place, as for entertainment. We went to see the Eiffel Tower in the morning. See or watch. This program will be seen all over the world. Get to know or become aware of, usually accidentally. I see that you have been promoted. Date regularly. Have a steady relationship with. Did you know that she is seeing an older man? Find out, learn, or determine with certainty, usually by making an inquiry or other effort. I want to see whether she speaks French. Perceive or be contemporaneous with. You'll see a lot of cheating in this school. Undergo or live through a difficult experience. Be careful or certain to do something. Make certain of something. Come together. I'll probably see you at the meeting. Accompany or escort. I'll see you to the door. Perceive, an idea or situation, mentally. Now I see. Imagine. Conceive of. See in one's mind. I can't see him on horseback. observe, check out, and look over carefully or inspect. I must see your passport before you can enter the country. Deem to be. I don't see the situation quite as negatively as you do. Deliberate or decide. Let's see, which movie should we see tonight? Go to see for a social visit. I went to see my friend Mary the other day. Go to see for professional or business reasons. You should see a lawyer. Match or meet. Observe as if with an eye. Perceive by sight or have the power to perceive by sight. You have to be a good observer to see all the details. Receive as a specified guest. The doctor will see you now. See and understand, have a good eye. The artist must first learn to see. The seat within a bishop's diocese where his cathedral is located. Be a signal for or a symptom of. These symptoms indicate a serious illness. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He indicated his opponents. Give evidence of. The results indicate the need for more work. Suggest the necessity of an intervention, in medicine. Tetracycline is indicated in such cases. To state or express briefly. Indicated his wishes in a letter. Take a sample of. Try something new, as in order to gain experience. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Perform in order to get a role. Perform in order to get a role. She auditioned for a role on Broadway. The ability to hear, the auditory faculty. A test of the suitability of a performer. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Foreshadow or presage. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Indicate, as with a sign or an omen. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Order, request, or command to come. She was called into the director's office. Utter a sudden loud cry. Pay a brief visit. The mayor likes to call on some of the prominent citizens. The option to buy a given stock, or stock index or commodity future, at a given price before a given date. A demand by a broker that a customer deposit enough to bring his margin up to the minimum requirement. A demand especially in the phrase. The call of duty. A telephone connection. She reported several anonymous calls. A loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Greet, as with a prescribed form, title, or name. She calls him by first name. Demand payment of a loan. Give the calls to the dancers for a square dance. Get or try to get into communication with someone by telephone. I tried to call you all night. The characteristic sound produced by a bird. Make a demand, as for a card or a suit or a show of hands. He called his trump. A brief social visit. Senior professors' wives no longer make afternoon calls on newcomers. A demand for a show of hands in a card game. After 2 raises there was a call. An instruction that interrupts the program being executed. Pascal performs calls by simply giving the name of the routine to be executed. A request. Many calls for Christmas stories. Ascribe a quality to or give a name of a common noun that reflects a quality. He called me a bastard. A special disposition, as if from a divine source, to pursue a particular course. A visit in an official or professional capacity. The pastor's calls on his parishioners. Call a meeting. Invite or command to meet. The 1C conference was called to discuss the final solution. Challenge somebody to make good on a statement, charge with or censure for an offense. He deserves to be called on that. Challenge the sincerity or truthfulness of. Call the speaker on a question of fact. Consider or regard as being. I would not call her beautiful. Declare in the capacity of an umpire or referee. Call a runner out. Indicate a decision in regard to. Call balls and strikes behind the plate. Lure by imitating the characteristic call of an animal. Make a stop in a harbor. The ship will call in Honolulu tomorrow. Order or request or give a command for. The unions called a general strike for Sunday. Order, summon, or request for a specific duty or activity, work, role. He was already called 4 times for jury duty. Read aloud to check for omissions or absentees. Require the presentation of for redemption before maturation. Rouse somebody from sleep with a call. I was called at 5 a.m. this morning. Send a message or attempt to reach someone by radio, phone, etc. Make a signal in order to transmit a message. Hawaii is calling. Sports, the decision made by an umpire or referee. He was ejected for protesting the call. Stop or postpone because of adverse conditions, such as bad weather. Call a football game. Utter a characteristic note or cry. Blue Jays called to one another. Utter in a loud voice or announce. He called my name. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Grounds for feeling hopeful about the future. There is little or no promise that he will recover. Make a promise or commitment. A verbal commitment by one person to another agreeing to do, or not to do, something in the future. Give grounds for expectations. The results promised fame and glory. Promise to undertake or give. I promise you my best effort. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Regard something as probable or likely. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Be excited or anxious about. Act in advance of. Deal with ahead of time. Realize beforehand. Be a forerunner of or occur earlier than. This composition anticipates Impressionism. Articulate. Either verbally or with a cry, shout, or noise. Express in speech. This depressed patient does not verbalize. Be verbose. This lawyer verbalizes and is rather tedious. Convert into a verb. Many English nouns have become verbalized. Express in speech. The opening through which food is taken in and vocalizations emerge. He stuffed his mouth with candy. A spokesperson, as a lawyer. An impudent or insolent rejoinder. An opening that resembles a mouth, as of a cave or a gorge. He rode into the mouth of the canyon. A person conceived as a consumer of food. He has 4 mouths to feed. Articulate silently. Form words with the lips only. She mouthed a swear word. The externally visible part of the oral cavity on the face and the system of organs surrounding the opening. She wiped lipstick from her mouth. The opening of a jar or bottle. The jar had a wide mouth. The point where a stream issues into a larger body of water. New York is at the mouth of the Hudson. Touch with the mouth. Without qualification. Used informally as, often pejorative, intensifiers. Utter nonsense. Articulate. Either verbally or with a cry, shout, or noise. He uttered a curse. Complete and absolute. Utter seriousness. Express in speech. Express audibly. Utter sounds, not necessarily words. He uttered strange sounds that nobody could understand. Put into circulation. Utter counterfeit currency. Exchange thoughts. Talk with. Use language. The prisoner won't speak. Give a speech to. Express in speech. Make a characteristic or natural sound. Articulate. Either verbally or with a cry, shout, or noise. Express in speech. Be verbose. Convert into a verb.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.